Good everyone. I hope you're having an amazing day. So today I'll be talking about the last aspect of the large data volume. That is about the deletion of the data, right? So now imagine you have 1 million records. Okay. Now if you wanted to delete 1 million records, so if you go and delete it in the usual way, what happens, right? It goes to the Salesforce recycle bin. Yeah, which know that recycle bin, which we also call it as a soft delete. Right now, soft delete is not a great option if you have 1 million to record, right? Because every query you make on that custom object will have to cater for this, that the deleted information which sits in the recycle bin, and that can cause a massive performance issue. Okay. Now, so in that perspective, right, keeping if you're dealing with a large data volume, it's always good to go for a hard delete. But again, you have to be very careful with the data you wanted to delete. You can archive your data, that's another option. But if you decide to delete it for whatever reason, right, then you can always use the bulk API hard delete option. So bulk API hard delete is a pretty good way if you wanted to uh, deal with a massive amount of data deletion. That's pretty simple. Um, now the so if you are not interested in hard delete, interested in the soft delete, just have to remember one thing: it goes to recycle bin and sits there for 15 days, or until your recycle bin grows to a specific size. Right now, you can use if you're using bulk API, you can use the data chunking. By default, the queries are in bulk API. Queries are split into 100,000 records, chunk by default. You can increase or decrease to say 250K. But that being said, right, you have to understand one thing. If you have a large uh, chunks for bulk API, performance might be sluggish, or if you have too many um, small chunks, then it will take longer time, right? So if for whatever reason chunking didn't work, you can use the PK chunking. If you wanted to break your data into small enough chunks, then you can do PK chunking, which is called primary key chunking. So in this case, the object record ID is the one which always get indexed, right? Um, so usually, if you're dealing with over 10 million records, then the PK chunking is very handy. Um, or if you think that your bulk query often times up, then you can use for PK chunking. PK chunking is supported in a bulk API, so you can always do. So as you can see that, this is something you can do that using PK chunking, which is pretty cool. And you can, so this is pretty much well handled by a bulk API. Other option you can do, you can also get to the truncation option. You can actually pretty much delete your records immediately, right? So truncation is another option. But remember one thing, right? So now you might be asking, okay, why the heck I have to use bulk API? So truncating custom object causes some irreversible changes, so they cannot be returned to the original state. So remember this one, right? So once you do that, it can't be reversed. So the few nitty gritty things you might be thinking, right? That's one of the reasons why I thought, I will cover this, even though it's a very small episode. But you should know if someone comes to you and say, "Look, I wanted to delete, millions of records," so you can't say, "All right." You can go and do select all and delete it, but so you have to consider your recycle bin into consideration. And if you're going at a truncate option, right, you have to consider this. So if you say, "Oopsie, I wanted to regain it back," the data, not going to happen, right? So you have to factor all those consideration. And now to enable the truncation, right? So you have to do in the classic. You have to enable an option to truncate. Uh, so that's pretty much how you do it, and it's pretty simple. Yeah. So we pretty much done with the large data volume. So yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to talk. So nice and easy, and very simple episode, right? Take care. Adios.